Hello everyone, welcome to video 2 in my series of Marvel Champions gameplay going through the Mutant Genesis campaign expansion, trying to beat every scenario on heroic difficulty. And today we've got the Project Wide Awake scenario, which I will be attempting to defeat with a Colossus Justice deck. Now because I'm trying to sort of tailor my deck towards this scenario specifically, we'll spend a few minutes just going over some of the key things about this scenario first, then we'll get into the deck. But if you want to skip right to the gameplay, you're more than welcome to just do that. So this is a pretty unique scenario and really showcases why I like to build my decks for each scenario specifically, because of the permanent Operation Zero Tolerance scheme. So this says that whenever an enemy attacks and defeats an ally, that ally goes face down under the scheme. And then if we get 4 cards face down under there, we will lose. And so not only does the ally being defeated put a card under there, but also whenever our main scheme gets to 5, we will remove 5 threat and put the top card of our deck underneath there. So if you play this a few times, you learn very quickly that this is an incredibly fast clock. We can basically not afford to let a single card go under here if we want to keep our chance of winning. So when you see our deck that we've built in a little bit, you'll see virtually no allies in the entire deck, and the game plan is never to block with any of them. And then on top of that, we have a steady villain stage 2 and stalwart villain stage 3. So we can't prevent our villain from attacking and confusing like we sometimes can. And so we can't stun them from attacking, we can't block with allies. Our hero has to be prepared to take lots of attacks in this scenario. And that's why Colossus is perfect for it, because he has all those tough cards that can soak up the damage. So a really kind of unique matchup for this video that I'm excited to show you. Another key part of this scenario is these abduction protocols side schemes. So we'll get one in play when we reveal stage 2 as well as when we reveal stage 3. And when we defeat these, we get one of the 4 captive X-Men allies. And so they come into play, but then they end up in the deck as well, so we might be able to play them multiple times during the game. And these are all really strong. So any chance to defeat the abduction protocols will be high on our priority list. And these can really help us take out all of the Sentinel minions that this scenario is bringing. We're doing the recommended mod sets. Actually, OZT is required, and the Sentinel's modular set, just to have all those Sentinel minions in there. And those abduction protocols, they're so important, in fact, that I'm playing 3 copies of One Way or Another in Colossus's deck to bring them out of the deck, just to clear them even earlier. And I say that to point out as well the Relentless robots from the Sentinel set. This is the only other side scheme in the deck, so sometimes if we run out of these, we'll get the Relentless robots with One Way or Another. So, like I said, there's a handful of ways that the scenario can give you encounter cards, there's a few other ways the scenario can make you put cards under Operation Zero Tolerance, and we need to avoid those entirely. So something like Warn the Others, we're going to always do this if we draw that for the turn. Mutant detected, we're going to always pick the second mode. So that's just part of the game plan going in. Last thing, mutants at the mall. This is a side scheme that starts in play. If we get a chance to defeat it, we have to draw a Sentinel minion of our choice, but then we get the Jubilee ally. So in some of my practice games, off camera, we don't even end up completing this because it takes a not insignificant amount of thwarting, and then we have to beat the Sentinel. And Jubilee is not terribly strong, but if the opportunity presents itself, we can certainly clear it, but not a requirement. So there we go. Now let's get into the deck. So here's the deck we'll be using to take on Project Wide Awake. If we start with the attacks, Colossus already has quite a bit between Steel Fist and Maid of Rage. One thing about Steel Fist, it's a crazy strong card, but our villain is steady and then stalwart. We'd really like to find an opportunity to play 2 of these while the villain is still on stage 2, because then we can give them 2 stuns and 2 confuses and take away 2 activations like that. But after we get to villain stage 3, those won't matter anymore. Maid of Rage, not the strongest card to play, especially early, but it might help us clear some of those big Sentinel minions. Turn the Tide, I might as well talk about Clear the Area too. Because our main scheme never gets more than 4 threat on it, right? If we get to 5, we take 5 off and put a card under Operation Zero Tolerance. We're always sort of in range to remove all of the threat from the main scheme. In addition to, of course, our abduction protocols that'll be coming throughout the game. So lots of opportunity to clear the last remaining threat off schemes on any given turn. So we have 3 Turn the Tide, just really strong value, 3 damage in 1 card. Really strong. Coming down to the thwarts, like I said, 3 Clear the Area, lots of opportunity to get the card draw. You really don't want to play this card without that opportunity. 2 Overwatch, this is kind of a flexible slot, but again, because there's very often going to be more than 1 scheme in play, so if you can use 1 card to thwart for 2, that's just really solid value. Counterintelligence is an interesting one. This is one of the rare scenarios where counterintelligence really makes sense. It's not that efficient of threat removal, 3 resources for 3 threat, but because that main scheme has an effective threshold of 5, we really cannot let the villain even scheme, once fully. The most efficient threat removal in the world can't stop it in the villain phase like counterintelligence can. And then we've got Agent Coulson. He's also maybe not the most important card to include if you want to swap for something else, but being able to find one of those counterintelligences, which is just such an important card, makes him pretty valuable. And then, as I mentioned in the scenario breakdown, we don't play any other allies besides just Colossus's signature ally, because we can't use them to block, and if we're not using them to block, allies aren't as efficient as some of these other cards we're playing. If we look at the sort of wild card cards, Organic Steel, really strong, 3 resources for 3 tough cards, 3 blocks, just a crazy card. We'll want to play that almost every time we draw it. Bulletproof Protector, Armor Up, some little more Colossus specific cards. Armor Up is another really nice one for this scenario, stopping the villain from scheming at all, getting us back into hero form with a tough card to take the activation. This lets us end the turn in Alter Ego with a 6 card hand size, still switch to hero form before we take our turn, and then get back to Alter Ego for the hand size of 6 again. A nice card to play at any opportunity. 3 copies of One Way or Another. Because we have the abduction protocols in this scenario, those are really strong to search up. Drawing 3 cards, of course, tremendous value as long as there's a side scheme worth defeating with it. And we definitely have that in this scenario, so we've got the full 3 copies of One Way or Another. For resources, just the doublers and Determination. Determination, just a free little piece of value. No reason not to play it unless you're sort of overloaded on resources, which we definitely aren't. Didn't want to play the Power of Justice for only Counterintelligence and Agent Coulson. And then we've got a ton of supports and upgrades to help us sort of keep pace with the villain in the mid-game and eventually pull ahead. X-Bunker, I want to shout out, is really nice in this scenario. Those abduction protocols all go to the victory display when defeated, so we don't even need to include any player side scheme cards to have this become really strong later in the game. Utopia, despite me not playing that many X-Men, all of the captive X-Men allies that we get from defeating abduction protocols are X-Men, so Utopia still can pull its weight in this scenario. The X-Mansion, kind of a nice card because we're not going to be blocking with those X-Men allies. We can just keep healing them, and that gets lots of value for healing up these powerful captive allies. The Jet, Def Focus, Colossus has a ton of superpowers, Organic Steel, Steel Fist, these upgrades, so Def Focus is well worth it. And then the two potentially strongest cards in the deck, certainly Iron Will is the strongest card in the deck. Every time we remove a tough, we draw a card. That's going to trigger lots and lots of time, so we want to get that in play as soon as possible. We'll mulligan for it. And then Titanium Muscles being really strong as well, giving the attack buff, plus very often 2 resources a turn. So there's the deck. Now let's get into the game. So here we go, Colossus Justice versus Project Wide Awake, also known as Sentinel, on heroic difficulty. I've already set up the adduction protocols that we get out when Sentinel Stage 2 is revealed. We're also starting with this Mutants at the Mall in play, which when we defeat that we'll get the Jubilee ally. Not crucial to defeat that early, if not in the entire game. Jubilee is not the strongest ally, but it is some free value that will add up over the course of the game, if we have the opportunity to clear it. We'll be spending most of our effort getting these abduction protocols to get the captive allies. So first opening hand. So not seeing any of the upgrades that we really want to see, like the Titanium Muscles or Iron Will. I'll keep the double energy resource. Shadowcat can be pretty nice early because she can thwart past the crisis icons in order to thwart the main scheme. So if we keep her in hand, we get an opportunity to defeat an abduction protocols turn 1. But I think the most important is to just be able to play out some of those all-important upgrades. All right, so there we got Iron Will. Might be able to play a bunch here. So let's count what we can do. Pay 1, 2, 3 for the Jet, 1 from the Jet for Deft Focus, 1, 2 for Iron Will. Looks like a good plan to me. So here's 1, 2, 3 for the Jet. Flip. Oh, let's not forget here before I get ahead of myself. I get the setup ability of searching for Organic Steel. See if that changes anything I want to do. That gives me 1 extra resource. Would be nice to get that in play, I think, because all those toughs turn into resources from Iron Will as we draw cards. So I think just instead of X-Jet, I'll play that, and the numbers will work out the same. So pay 1 for Deft Focus. Flip. Tough. Pay 1, 2 for Organic Steel. And I like to use, as my counters for Organic Steel, I'm just going to use tough cards. Simplify the actions a little bit. Oh, this does still leave me with 1 left over. So I might keep the Steel Fist. pay 2 for the Iron Will. So now I can thwart for 2 on this abduction protocols. And do I keep this? It is sort of in the plan to use Steel Fist twice against stage 2, which is steady and not stalwart, so that we can get it stunned and confused. We're only going to have... Yeah, I'm going to keep it. Might need some burst damage for a big Sentinel minion as well. I'll keep it. All right, 2 on the main scheme. Sentinel attacks. We'll just take it. 1 boost icon. So knock off the tough, draw from Iron Will, replace it with Organic Steel, and now get 2 encounter cards. Okay, another attack. So nothing we can do besides just taking it again. Boost ability, give the villain a tough. Already has one. So tough goes away, draw a card. And another abduction protocols. Okay. Unfortunately, titanium muscles won't give me any resources this turn, but I still think it's correct to play. And I will, one way or another here, get an abduction protocols. The card draw is worth more than the third crisis icon. Is bad. Would be nice to draw into a counterintelligence, since we'll be going down to alter ego. So here's our 3 cards. All right. So now that we've drawn a clear the area, I'll use clear the area on this abduction protocols. So pay 1 for clear the area, and we'll draw a card for finishing that. I get one of these allies at random. And actually this goes to the victory display, which is relevant if we draw an X bunker later in the game. So my plan is to sort of put it in the corner over there and use the counter to say how many are in the victory display. So we get Richter. Yeah, being out of tough statuses is not ideal, to be sure. So I can play a counterintelligence and the muscles and have 1 card left over, or 2 cards because I can use deft focus. I think I'd like to keep Bulletproof Protector, just a really excellent card. Oh well, I can do this. Yeah, we just completed that, so I can spend a turn the tide to attack. So then I'll just hang on to Bulletproof Protector, pay 2 for muscles, pay 2 for counterintelligence. I'm going to keep Richter, save its uses for minions. Thwart one of these for 2. Just got to keep the thwarting rolling. No rush to attack. Flip down, and then Colossus has a response. I can shuffle back in a Colossus card. So I'm interested in... No, my ally slots are going to be filled up pretty soon. Let's just get another Bulletproof. With Iron Will and Titanium Muscles in play, Bulletproof Protector is just incredible. Replaces itself just a free and gets just a free tough status. Or you know what? I could use Richter just to thwart for 1 here. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Need to keep the thwarting on. Okay. Into the villain phase. So we'll put 2 on. I don't want to use counterintelligence because Sentinel's just going to scheme anyways, and we want to block the full 3 when we can. So we'll put 2 threat on, which brings us to 5, take us down to 0, and put our first card under Operation Zero Tolerance. Sentinel schemes for 1, 2, 3, and exhaust your identity. So I will use the counterintelligence to make that 0. And then 2 encounter cards. A Sentinel. And attach to the Sentinel and give it tough. So that's actually really not that bad of a turn, because we'll have Richter out and then hopefully complete that abduction protocols. So do I want to play this X Mansion before I leave Alter Ego to heal up Richter? I think I do. Be drawing a handful of cards this turn. No, I think it would be nice to Steel Fist. Might need Steel Fist for the minion or just to get our first one off onto Sentinel. Keeping a counterintelligence is always nice. I want to play both of these. All right, we'll just flip up. Get a tough. So play this, remove a tough to put 2 toughs on. Removing the tough triggers Iron Will. Okay, one way or another is interesting because there should be 1 more abduction protocols that we could get. So I can play that if I want. I think I will. So here's one way or another. And draw 3. All right, lots of really important cards to play there. So I can clear the area of this. Or I can ready Colossus, then thwart plus clear the area for one of these. Get one ally. Richter thwarts this, get a second ally. Those 2 allies, yes, those 2, no matter what 2 I get, those 2 allies can kill this Sentinel. So while I've got 2 tough statuses, let's play a 2-cost card with the Moosels. X-Bunker. So play this, discard a tough to ready, drawing off Iron Will. Thwart this for 2. Pay 1, clear the area, draw from clearing it. Utopia is a really nice draw. I'm going to roll for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4. So now that I drew Utopia, I think I would like to play that. If I pay 2 for Utopia, 1 for the studio, 1 resource goes to waste. Or I could play 2 2-cost things. Yeah, we can let the studio wait. How bad? I don't really need counterintelligence that bad right now. We've only got 1 card under OZT so far. No, I think we're just doing well enough that I want to be cautious. So I'll pay 2 for Utopia. Make sure it's still on camera. Now Richter will thwart abduction protocols. Do evens for Wolfsbane, odds for Cannonball. Odd for Cannonball. Two for counterintelligence. So Boom Boom will attack the Sentinel, or the Sentinel minion, removing the tough and getting a bomb counter. Cannonball attacks for 2. Now we end the player phase, remove the bomb counter, and it does 2 damage to each enemy So that gets the final 2 on the minion, as well as 2 of the villain. And here we go. Okay, pretty resource heavy hand, but hopefully we can draw some good stuff. 2 goes on the main scheme. We get attacked and just take it. No boost abilities. So lose the tough, draw a card, replace the tough. 2 encounter cards. The villain schemes for 1, 2, only 2. So, right, we don't need to spend counterintelligence until it's going to be 3. So I'm fine leaving that at 4. At worst, we'll have to use it next villain phase step 1, but that'll be 2 again, so it's the same whether we do it now or later. And targeted for elimination. So we can kind of ignore that. I know a few encounter cards get worse if we leave it in play, but it's not a relevant effect right now. We can't change to alter ego form if we're engaged with a Sentinel minion. So thwart for 2 and use 2 allies to finish abduction protocols is how we could start. That would allow me to use Utopia to ready. Yep, like that. Thwart for 2. Then let's have these 2 each thwart it for 1. So note that I can have 4 allies in play because they're all X-Men, and we have Utopia. Utopia readies Colossus. I will turn the tide here. While I'm in hero form, pay 2 for an organic steel. So now here comes, do I want to thwart this for 2 or lose targeted for elimination? I could actually complete mutants at them all right now. Ooh, that's looking good. That's looking good. So we'll Overwatch on Night of the Sentinels. Thwart that for 2. Discard the Overwatch to thwart from 2 here. Use Wolf's Bane and say bye to Richter to thwart mutants at the mall for 2 more. Oh, well, that's going to give me a Sentinel minion. I forgot that happens. Let's hold on a second. I'll still do the Overwatch thing. That's fine. But I think I'll still have I'll have Wolfbane thwart the main scheme for one. Okay, now flip down, trigger alter ego ability. So I've actually got exactly 3 cards in deck. So whatever I take, I'm guaranteed to find with the X Bunker. So Organic Steel or Piotr's Studio are what's playable here, or Shadowcat. I think the Studio. Well, Organic Steel is also a card advantage in its way. I think Organic Steel. So use X Bunker to look at these 4. And I will indeed get the Organic Steel. Pay 2 to play it. Hang on to this and end the turn. So we'll finish the deck. All right, step 1, we put on 2. Villain schemes for 1, 2, 3. Pop counterintelligence. 2 more and counter cards. Another scheme, okay, so that's gonna get a card for 5. Okay, so put 5 on and then take 5 off and lose a card. So I have a choice between putting another card under OZT and having the villain attack. So we're just going to have the villain attack for 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, there's the reason to get rid of targeted for elimination. So the attack is for 3. We lose the tough, and then this is dealt as a face down and counter card. Under fire, worst card in the deck. Another Sentinel. Villain gets +8 hit points from 13 up to 21. And 2 Sentinel minions. So luckily, since we've got all the captive allies now, they can really tear minions apart. So kind of a bummer, but we're far enough developed that it's not that bad. So let's start with the X Bunker. Looking at 4 cards. None of these are that great. So with one way or another, I could still get Relentless Robots. I think. Oh no, we had that as our boost card, so I could not. In that case, I will keep Made of Rage. It is a energy resource that we might spend to discard that attachment. Flip, get tough. Get out Skilled Investigator. I'm not going to get up to 2 tough statuses unless I draw a bulletproof. Well, I'm not going to need 2 Made of Rages. Unless I want to discard that. I've got these double resources. We'll just use this. Pay 1 for Clear the Area on Mutants at the Mall. So when defeated, we will search encounter deck and discard pile for a Sentinel and reveal it. So I think the easiest one is this one. It's just 4 health with guard and patrol. Flip this, and here comes Jubilee. And she does not count against the ally limit. So from Clear the Area, we draw a card. From Skilled Investigator, we'll draw a card. So we did get up to 3 energy if I want to do that. Jubilee also funnels energy into damage. Oh, permit me to rewind ever so slightly. We will, so before I did the Clear the Area, I would have attacked a Sentinel for 3. So now Jubilee entering, I can use Utopia to ready. All right, so So Richter will deal 1 to everybody, plus whoever he attacks. Boom Boom will deal 2 to everybody. So that's 3 here, that's all we need. 3 here, and 3 here. So I don't need to use Made of Rage to clear all of our minions this turn. But it would let me see another card. Now I think I'll just pay the 3 energy to discard this. Put him back to 13. Then Richter will attack the Sentinel Mark 4. So that deals 1 damage, then 1 damage to everybody. Oh, Boom Boom doesn't get to use its response if they're dead. It's not the end of the world if one of these things stays alive. All right, we're gonna have Wolf's Bane attack for 2. Clear this one. Cannonball attack for 2. Clear this one. Does not take the consequential due to killing the minion. So I could have Colossus just regular attack for 3 and finish it off with the 2 of these attacking. Yeah, I'm good with that. Attack it for 3. These 2 attack. And this does as well when I was thinking of opening an ally slot to play for Coulson. Get back a preparation and then play it. All right, so now we only put 1 threat on because we got rid of the acceleration icon. Sentinel attacks, we'll take it. Put the Sentinel into play engaged with you. I don't like that. So we lose the tough, draw from the Iron Will. We place the tough. Now this Sentinel attacks, removes the tough, draw a card, replace the tough. 2 encounter cards. Okay, retaliate 1, can discard with 3 mentals, and Shadow of the Past. When that enters, we discard each friendly tough status card. So that will draw us a card, and then it gets 2 extra threat for each one removed. So this definitely hurts going into a turn without any tough statuses. Oh, I didn't even thwart with Coulson. That's fine. Okay. So I'll have Coulson thwart this for 2. Then clear the area. Again, if I want to keep 3 mentals for discarding this turn. Don't think I will. Kind of a lot to do this turn. So we'll spend the Determination, which thwarts for 1, to clear the area on this. So that'll be drawing a card from Clear the Area, drawing a card from Skilled Investigator. Turn the Tide on Small Sentinel. So we'll have Wolf's Bane do a piercing attack against Juggernaut. So I've got the Steel Fist here, which is nice. It lets me use the Def Focus resource, which would be nice. Go 1, 2, 3, X-Jet. 1, 2 for Steel Fist. 1, 2 for X-Mansion. And if I'd ordered that a bit differently, I could have done another Turn the Tide here. Okay, 1, 2, 3 for the X-Jet. One, 2 for Steel Fist, 5 damage to Juggernaut. Finish off Juggernaut with Cannonball. Attack. Finish this off with Jubilee. Let's get rid of targeted for elimination. Flip down. Reshuffle something. Steel Fist. X-Bunker. Since it's just a resource anyways, I'll take one way or another. Pay 2 for the X-Mansion, and let's heal up. Let's heal up Jubilee. Okay. Very busy board state, but that means we're in very good position. Ooh, and this armor up is interesting. I might pop that right away when they try to scheme. So step 1, we put on 1. Sentinel's going to try to scheme, and I will armor up. The only thing I miss out is an X-Bunker and an X-Mansion use, but it's just so good. So armor up, we flip, then we get attacked for 3 + 0, lose the tough, draw a card. replace the tough. 2 encounter cards. That is an incredible draw because we will put 4 threat on the side scheme that doesn't care how much threat is on it. And this is from Juggernaut's set. Attached to the enemy with the highest printed attack. When it attacks, it gains overkill and piercing. So very unfriendly and no way to discard it. So let's start with the Bulletproof Protector. Remove a tough to put on 2 tough. Definitely a turn where we can make use of the Steel Fist. Might hang on to this armor up, do the same trick as last turn. So let's pay 1, 2 for Steel Fist. Oh, no, sorry, let's rewind. I want to get rid of that attachment first, which I can do because I can do science, science, science. Discard that. I guess I was lying about the X bunker because this turn I can still flip down to Alter Ego and use it. So 1, well, I might not draw something to use this double resource on. So pay 2 Steel Fist, remove a tough to stun and confuse. 5 damage. Draw from Iron Will. And do I replace it with Organic Steel? I think I don't. Because then I'll be wasting the free one I get when I flip up next turn. Although I can Bulletproof Protector here to get another one. Because I'm going to be able to reshuffle in this Organic Steel when I flip down. Yeah, I'm just debating how to use this Bulletproof Protector if I want to use it at all. So I think I don't. So I'm just going to store an Overwatch here. Well, let me see another card. Yeah, I'll use it. It's free anyways. So I'll remove a tough, get 2 toughs. Oh ho, well hello. That is the ideal draw. Pay 1, 2 for Steel Fist, remove a tough, stun, confuse, 5 damage. Draw from Iron Will. want to go for 3? All right, and then just mop up a bit here. Thwart for 2. Don't want to advance yet because then it'll get stalwart and we'll lose the stun and confuse. Thwart for 2. Flip down. Organic steel. Pretend shuffle. X bunker. Get the steel. So am I fine losing the armor up? I think yes, because we have so much buffer between one more card can be placed under there still, counterintelligence, confuse. So I'll pay 2 for organic steel. And X-Mansion Cannonball. And then we're good to go. So I run out of the deck. So it's not crazy to say we could win next turn, depending on the damage we have available. Have to see what comes our way. At most 2 turns, absolutely. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of damage here. So let's put 1 on the main scheme. Confuse makes us fail to thwart. 2 more encounter cards. Okay, we'll need to exhaust to not get a card under OZT at end of turn. This has Surge because OZT is in play. Well, that's a bad one to get 2 copies of because we can only exhaust once. Although, I guess Utopia can prevent that. When revealed, if targeted for elimination is attached, it attacks. Otherwise, search for targeted for elimination and reveal it. So nothing that we drew there affects us attacking and burning out the villain now. So let's see how much damage we can do. First we'll use the bunker. And grab a Steel Fist. Okay, flip up. So let's try some quick maths. Cannonball attacks for 2. Coulson attacks for 1 to clear the tough off the next stage. Next stage has 22 health. 2 Steel Fists. Did I forget to ready these? Yeah. 2 Steel Fists does 10. attack, attack, attack for 19. 2021. If I get Shadowcat in there, do I have enough resources for all of that? Probably. These two for a Steel Fist. These are free and replace themselves, so there's 2 more for Steel Fist. Muscles. Yeah, that's got to be enough. Start with a Cannonball attack for 2, which gets us to the next stage. So from 2 down to 0, now up to 22. We'll be no longer stunned. When revealed, we get a abduction protocols, but they're all gone. Whoops. Agent Coulson attack for 1 to remove the tough. 2 resources for Steel Fist to do 5. 2 resources for Steel Fist to do 5. Attack for 3. Bulletproof Protector, so remove a tough to ready. Draw from Iron Will. Replace it with Organic Steel. Attack for 3. Pay 1, 2, 3 for Shadowcat. Utopia to ready. Attack for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Bulletproof Protector. Remove a tough to ready. Draw a card. And attack for 3, which gives us the victory. All right, I think that was a pretty good showing for the deck. Lots of upgrades and supports to get out in those early turns, and then you just get so much card draw from those that eventually we can just do a huge burst of damage. Always good to defeat those abduction protocols as we go, because the allies basically repay us immediately, letting us keep the damage and thwarting going. And then, like you saw, by the end of the game, we can just drop 25 damage out of nowhere. All right, thanks a lot for watching. We're two for 2 so far, beating Sabretooth in the first video with Cyclops Protection, and now this beating Sentinel with Justice. So yeah, hope you'll continue watching and see what I've got coming next in the series. Thank you very much.